Morning. How's everyone doing? Good morning, good morning. Anyone doing anything interesting today? We have a doctor's appointment today. Oh, that's exciting, Becca. I'm not going to complain about that. We have our 36-week doctor's appointment. Oh, yeah, what book, Naisa? Anything we should know about? Animating more PowerPoints. That sounds horrific. Honestly, it's joyous compared to a normal day. Oh, okay. Mafia and Maid. You know, I thought I was gonna... I've only read one Mafia book, and I thought I was gonna love it, and I ended up not loving it, but I think it's just that it wasn't written very well, if I'm being honest. I could be wrong, but, like, it had so much promise in the concept, and then it just was annoying to me. But I think it was just the one. I'm waiting for Cold Medicine to kick in. Ooh. To fire someone? Oh my god, that sounds like the worst. Oh my god. I don't think I could do it. I was told you're rereading Fourth Wing Advance of next month. Did you like those books? It was an arc book, Naisa. It's on my list of things. Like if you go into my arcs, I think it was called like Mafia Princess or something like that. It was supposed to be like Princess Diaries meets, I know, right, Becca? Princess Diaries meets Mafia, whatever, but it fell flat. You're an HR director, you have no choice. Ugh. One time when I was creative director, somebody tried to strong-arm me into being the one that fires someone, and I couldn't do it. Where can I find you after the band? I'm hoping that the band doesn't happen, but YouTube or Patreon will be the places where I will be. YouTube is they're both Rainbow Slime Girl, actually. You can either find me on YouTube or Patreon, as Rainbow Slime Girl. Yeah. YouTube or Patreon. Or both. Sasha, why do you think I was... Yeah. Actually, Catherine, I have to tell you, I know a lot of women, long before TikTok and even, who have really stressful jobs, and that's why they get slime. HR directors are big on it. Anyone who's a high level, someone who has to deal with daily stresses, go through a lot of slime. And the reason I think is that it keeps us in healthy habits and not doing things like picking your face, picking your nails, other, little stressors. It stops mindless eating, I think, for a lot of us. I just played with tattooing, kind of called, yeah. I was told the child wasn't acting like himself, false, he was fine. Which child? Yeah, Pika. Yeah, for sure. I work under an HR department, so I'm always telling them they need slime. Seriously, tell them to call me. Morning, Avery. It is a weird thing, right? That we're able... Oh, Sawyer. I'm glad he's fine. You just subscribed on YouTube? Thank you. Hopefully we'll still be able to use this platform here, but who really knows, right? None of us really know anything. All the slimes are well on the way, Mary. They've all gone out, so hopefully it will arrive soon. I would say any delays are probably just fire related, because I mailed everything really fast. Like really, really fast. I've had several people, yeah, I can't even imagine having to fire people. Like, it's just not my cup of tea to fire people. I don't have the temperament for it. I'm not a good fire. He said his throat hurt. She gave him a lifesaver and he went back to class. I get one package and the other's coming tonight. Oh, fancy pantsy. I get one package and the other's coming tonight. Oh, Bouncy. I wouldn't show that you were live. I had to go to my following list. Yeah, that's pretty common, unfortunately. Lame sauce. Lame sauce. But you're here in time, which is what really matters, right? It says we'll be here Saturday. I mean, considering the fires, that's actually not so bad, Mary. Because a lot of things have been delayed due to the fires. So I would say that's actually not the worst I've heard. Don't forget, you guys, we're barely like 7 miles from the fires. So delays will occur, unfortunately. It's almost soup o'clock. Ooh, I like soup o'clock. Can't TikTok just work for less? You know what, Avery? I'm actually feeling kind of positive. Is that weird? Like, am I wrong to like feel kind of positive based on all of the progress that's been made the last couple of days? Am I the only one who's feeling like maybe things might work out for us here? Is that bad? Am I being too optimistic? I don't know. I feel like we might be okay. Your slime's out for delivery. Yay! Yeah, I feel bad for everyone in the fire. Yeah, of course. I don't know. I feel like it's possible that TikTok could survive. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Sloth. I've seen some things. I'm feeling positive about the new things that... Okay, fair enough, Becca. That's fair. All right. Yeah, Avery, I feel that also. All correct thoughts and feelings from everyone. Well, I don't think they're going to do that, Mary, because they're hypocrites. But there's no way. Catherine, that'll never happen because TikTok already said that they won't do that. So it doesn't matter. It's not a possibility. TikTok is not entertaining the idea of Musk purchasing it. So I'm not worried about that because they've already come out with a press release saying we're not even considering that. So don't worry about that, you guys. I have no faith in the Supreme Court, but did you see all the new things that were put in front of Congress yesterday, which don't need the Supreme Court to do their thing? I was less confident when it was just the Supreme Court. I'm more confident, yeah, money talks, exactly. The new thing that they put in front of Congress yesterday was specifically focused on taxes and how much they're going to lose in taxes if we all lose our income from this. So... you know? No, I don't think they're going to let someone else buy it, actually, Becca, because I don't think it does them any favors, too. Aw, she's loading the dishwasher already? My goodness, what a big girl. Money does talk, but if you think about it like this, Becca, if they cave and let someone purchase it, they're getting one lump sum as opposed to years and years and years of potential income, like, and they were never going to sell the algorithm anyway. So even if they sell, they're just selling what? The accounts, the platform. Without the algorithm, it's worthless. It's literally worthless. Like, no one's going to want it without the algorithm because it's not worth anything without it. So no, I actually don't think that they will. I don't think they'll cave and sell it because they're not going to sell for the algorithm that belongs to the rest of the world. You know? That's the thing. Yeah, exactly. And the US isn't the only market. So, no. I actually genuinely don't think they're going to sell it. I think things might be okay. It might be okay. If I was TikTok, honestly, I wouldn't sell it either. I'd be like, screw you guys. That's the truth. I would be like, well, sucks to suck. Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting, Jess. And then suddenly they turned it around as soon as that started happening. The comments about that are really funny. Jess, have you guys been reading the comments on those posts? It's very funny. Like, all the posts where people are talking about how TikTok might actually, like, survive this, or, like so many of the comments are like, too late, I'm already learning Mandarin. Didn't they force Grindr to sell a couple of years ago? I'm not sure. I actually don't remember, but Grindr's not worth as much. Not by far. You know what I mean? It's not as much, it's not a moneymaker the same way. You know, all they have is what, ads, you know? I know, it's so funny, Jess. I love it. I love all of it. I'm enjoying the whole thing. If it's saved, I'm thanking Spencer Pratt. You know what? He is handling everything like a champ right now. I gotta say, for someone who's lost everything, that man is, that's true, Jen. That is a good point. That's good. I'll just have my 5-year-old learn Mandarin. Exactly. Yeah, Miles can teach all of us. It's all good, right? So anyway, you know, everyone here knows my thoughts on the matter. I think TikTok should stay. TikTok has been a lifesaver for so many of us. The community building aspect alone is superior to every other platform that exists. I firmly believe that. I won't back down on that thought. Yeah, agreed, Sloth. I didn't watch it, so I didn't know any of that, but like he's got a good sense of humor about this kind of stuff. Like I think the one video I saw about him in the fire, I thought was so funny. He was like, is it, I mean, I don't blame her, Becca, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? You know, I have to say, I am positioned, it's interesting, right? So like a lot of people are going to lose all their income. I'm definitely going to lose some income, and it's going to be a struggle for the beginning of the time. But because about 1.5 years ago, I was like, I shouldn't have all my eggs in one basket. And I started splitting things up, and I made the Patreon to kind of pull away some of my funds from TikTok. I'm actually in a better position than most. There are Slimers who have double the amount of followers I have, or sometimes triple, who will suffer financially more than I will because they didn't have the forethought to prepare other places. Like I, about 1.5 years ago, also started like double uploading everything to YouTube just in case, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I should have all of my videos backed up somewhere, you know, stuff like that. So that they're not just on a meta platform, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. It wasn't just me who thought of it. Like, I don't know if any of you guys follow my friend, the speech professor. He doesn't use his real name on TikTok, so I won't say his name on here, but his account is the speech professor. And he's the one who was like, well, he is the friend who shoved me into YouTube, actually. He was like, hey, anyone who, oh God, that's terrible, Sloth. Yeah, he's great. He's a friend of mine in real life. I've met him, I met him about 2 years ago at an event I was doing here in LA, and someone introduced us, and then he makes a lot of private videos that are only to his mutuals. And he was like, any of you who can see this, you should probably be on YouTube, just so you know, here are the stats. And then he, on top of doing that, held a Zoom call with all of us to explain to us all what he does on YouTube to help us grow. And it was around the time Secret Husband and I went to Scotland last year that my account actually took off on YouTube because of his tips. So this is not me tooting my own horn. I didn't come up with these things on my own. I took what he was saying we should do, and I just implemented it, and I've just been following his lead because he was like, just do this, you know? So, you know, that's the whole kit and caboodle. But anyway, I'm hoping for the best, preparing for the worst, I guess is what it comes down to. Hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. But let's get reading, because I do have a doctor's appointment today, so I don't have all day to just sit and read, as much as I would love that. Guys, maybe when the baby comes, I'll just sit and read all day. Like, I'll just feed her and read to you at the same time. What do we think about that? At least my kids have a cool night. Yes, they do. How do we feel about that? Like extended book club, feed the baby, read to the book club. I'll just do that. Okay, here we go. Saturday, October 25th, 7 p.m. Will you be going live on YouTube after a baby arrives? If TikTok goes down, I will be doing lives on YouTube. Yes, that's correct. Yes, that's exactly right. If TikTok doesn't go down, it will be here. Not if I reposition the camera back. Like, imagine if I raised the camera up to here, you know what I mean? And I was sitting, like, and you could only see from there, you wouldn't really risk seeing her face. I have it positioned here right now because it's focused like here right now for you guys, but like I don't have to keep it like that. I could also, if she's feeding on this side, I can change it like this. Yeah, exactly, Becca. We can do that. My sister FaceTimes all the time and I tell her, show me the baby. That will be my sister momentarily, I guarantee it, because I do that to her kids right now. Every day that my sister does not send photos in our family group chat, my mom and I go, proof of life, question mark? Where are the children? Can we see them? Hello. Anyway, let's read. 7 p.m. on the way to Lily's house. Oh God, 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 oh God. I screwed up. I really screwed up. I don't know what happened. I honestly don't. Everything was going fine. I mean, Beverly Belvedere, she's so nice. I mean, like really, I was really, really nervous and she did her best to try to calm me down. Still, I think I did some major babbling. No, wait, I know I did some major babbling. I mean, I didn't mean for this to happen. I really didn't. I don't even know how it slipped out. I was just so nervous and hyper and there was all those lights in the microphone and everything. And I felt like, I don't know, like I was back in Principal Gupta's office living through the whole codeine cough syrup thing all over again. So when Beverly said, Mia, didn't you have some exciting news recently? I totally freaked out. And part of me was like, oh my God, how did she know? Another part of me was like, millions of people are going to see this. You have to act happy about it. So I went, oh yeah, I am pretty excited. I've always wanted to be a big sister, but they don't know that they don't really want to make a big deal out of it, you know? It's just going to be like a very small ceremony at City Hall with me as their witness. And that's when my dad dropped the glass of Perrier he'd been drinking, and then Grandmere started hyperventilating and she had to breathe into a paper bag, and I sat there going, oh my God, what have I done? And of course it turned out that Beverly hadn't been referring to my mom's pregnancy at all. Of course not. How could she have even known about my mom's pregnancy? What she had actually been referring to, of course, was my F in algebra being raised to a D. I tried to get up and I tried to go comfort my dad since I could see that he'd sunk into the chair and he had his head in his hands, but I was all tangled up in microphone wires and I had about a half an hour for the sound guys to get me out of the wires and to get me into the wires, and I didn't want to mess them up or anything, but I could see that my dad's shoulders were shaking, so I was pretty sure that he was crying, just like he always does at the end of Free Willy, even though he likes to pretend that it's just allergies. Beverly, seeing this, made a slashing motion with her hand to the camera guys, very nice, to help me get untangled. But then when I finally got to my dad, I saw he wasn't crying. He certainly didn't look good. He didn't sound very good either. And when he croaked for someone to bring him a whiskey, after 3 or 4 gulps, he got a little bit of the color back in his face, which is more than I can say for Grandmere. I don't think she will ever recover. Last time I saw her, she was downing a sidecar that someone had dropped Alka-Seltzer tablets into. I don't even want to think about what my mom is going to say when she finds out what I've done. I mean, even though my dad said not to worry and that he'll explain to mom what happened, I don't know. He kind of had a weird look on his face. I hope he doesn't plan on popping Mr. G1 in the pie hole. Me and my big mouth, my huge, grotesque, disproportionately massive mouth. There is no telling what else I said once the interview got underway again. I was so completely freaked out by the first thing, I can't even remember a single other thing that Beverly might have asked me. My dad has assured me that he is not the least bit jealous of Mr. Gianni and that he is very happy for my mother and that he thinks she and Mr. G make a great couple. Honestly, I think he means it. He does seem pretty unfazed after the initial shock. And once the interview was over, I noticed that he and Beverly Belvedere were yucking it up quite a bit. All I can say is thank goodness that I am going straight from the hotel to Lily's and she's having us all over to film next week's episode of her show. I think I will see if I can spend the night. Maybe this way, by the time Mom sees me tomorrow, she'll have had time to process the whole thing and she'll have forgiven me. I hope. Bad form, Mia. Bad form. Let's all say it together. You don't announce someone else's pregnancy without permission. Bad. No good. Doesn't matter if you're a teenager or not. We don't do that. No good. Sunday, October 26th, 2 a.m. Lily's bedroom. Okay, I just have one question. Why does it always have to go from bad to worse for me? I mean, apparently, it's not enough that, number one, I was born lacking any sort of mammary gland growth ability. Number two, my feet are as long as a normal person's thighs. Number three, I am the sole heir to the throne of a European principality. Number four, my grade point average is still slipping in spite of everything that I have done. Number five, I have a secret admirer who will not declare himself. Number six, my mother is pregnant with my algebra teacher's baby. And number seven, all of America is going to know about it after Monday night's broadcast of my exclusive interview on 24/7. No, that wasn't enough. In addition to all of that, I happen to be the only one of my friends who has still yet to be French kissed. Seriously, for the next week's show, Lily insisted on shooting what she calls the Scorsian confessional, in which she hopes to illustrate the degenerate lows to which today's youth have sunk. So she made us all confess on camera our worst sins, and it turns out that Shamika, Tina Hakim Baba, Ling Su, and Lily have all had boys' tongues in their mouths. All of them, except for me. Okay, I'm not surprised about Shamika. Ever since she grew breasts over the summer, boys have been buzzing all over her like she was the newest version of Tomb Raider or something like that. And Ling Su and that Clifford guy that she's been seeing are way into each other. But Tina, I mean, she has a bodyguard, just like me. When has she ever been alone long enough for a boy to French her? And Lily, excuse me, Lily is my best friend, who I thought tells me everything, even though I don't necessarily always return the favor. Anyway, she has known the touch of a boy's tongue upon her own, and she never thought to tell me until now. Boris Pulowski is apparently much smoother of an operator than you would expect, considering the whole sweater tucking thing. I'm sorry, but that's just sick. Sick. I would rather die, dried up, never been kissed as an old maid than be French kissed by Boris Pulowski. I mean, he always has food in his retainer, and not just food either, but usually weird, like multicolored food, like gummy bears or jelly bellies. Lily says he takes his retainer out when they kiss, though. God, I'm such a reject. The only boy who's ever kissed me did it just so he could get his picture in the paper. Yeah, there was some tongue action, but believe me, I kept my lips closed. And since I've never been French kissed and had nothing good to confess on the show, Lily decided to punish me by giving me a dare. She didn't even ask if I would prefer truth. Lily dared me that I wouldn't drop an eggplant onto the sidewalk from her 16th story bedroom window. I said I most certainly would, even though, of course, I really didn't want to. I mean, how stupid. Someone could get seriously hurt. I'm all for illustrating the degenerate lows to which Americans' teens have sunk, but I wouldn't want anybody to get their head bashed in by an eggplant. But what could I do? It was a dare, and I had to go along with it. I mean, it's bad enough that I've never been Frenched. I also didn't want to be branded a wimp. And I couldn't exactly stand there and go, well, all right, I may never have been French kissed by a boy, but I have been the recipient of a love letter written by a boy, I mean. No, because what if Michael is Josie Rocks? I mean, okay, look, I know he probably isn't, but like, well, what if he is? I don't want Lily to know any more than I want her to know about my interview with Beverly Bellavere or the fact that my mom and Mr. G are getting married. And I'm trying very, very hard to be a normal girl, and frankly, none of the aforementioned can even remotely be construed as normal. I guess the knowledge that somewhere in the world there's a boy who likes me gave me a sense of empowerment, something that I certainly could have used during that interview with Beverly, but whatever. I may not be able to form a coherent sentence when there's a television camera aimed in my direction, but I am at least capable, I decided, of throwing an eggplant out the window. Well, Lily was shocked. I had never accepted a dare like that before, and I can't really explain why I even did it. Maybe I was just trying to live up to my new reputation as a Josie-ish type of girl, or maybe I was more scared of what Lily would try to make me do if I said no. Well, once she made me run up and down the hallway naked, not like the hallway in the Moskowitz's apartment either, the hallway outside of their apartment. Whatever my reasons, I soon found myself sneaking past the doctors Moskowitz, who were lounging in sweatpants in the living room with stacks of important medical journals like all around their chairs. Lily's father was reading a copy of Sports Illustrated, and Lily's mom was reading Cosmo, and then I crept into the kitchen. "Oh, hello, Mia," Lily's father called from behind his magazine. "How are you doing?" I said nervously. "I'm fine." And how's your mother?" Lily's mother asked. She's fine," I said. "Is she still seeing your algebra teacher in a social capacity?" Yes, Dr. Moskowitz," I said. More than you know, I thought. And you still amenable to that relationship? Lily's father wanted to, oh, sorry, I should have been a guy. Lily's father wanted to know that. I said, yes, Dr. Moskowitz. I didn't think it would be appropriate to mention the whole thing about how my mom is having Mr. G's baby. I mean, how am I supposed to do that while I'm thinking about the dare after all? You aren't supposed to stop for psychoanalysis when you're on a dare. Well, you tell her hello from me, Lily's mother said. We can't wait until her next show. It's at the Mary Boone Gallery, isn't that right? Yes, ma'am, I said. The Moskowitzes are a big fan of my mother's work. One of her best paintings, Woman Enjoying a Quick Snack at Starbucks, is hanging in their dining room. Well, we'll be there, Lily's father said, and then he and his wife turned back to their magazines, so I hurried away to the kitchen. I found an eggplant in the vegetable crisper, and I hid it under my shirt so that the doctors Moskowitz wouldn't see me sneaking back to their daughter's room holding a giant ovoid fruit, something sure to cause unwanted questions. While I carried it, I thought, this is how my mother's going to look in a few months. It was a very uncomfortable thought. I don't think that my mother's going to dress any more conservatively while pregnant than she did when she wasn't pregnant, which is to say, not very. And then, while Lily narrated gravely into the microphone about how Mia Thermopolis was about to strike a blow for good girls everywhere, and Shamika filmed, I opened the window and made sure no innocent bystanders were below, and then... bombs away, I said, like in the movies. It was kind of cool seeing this huge purple eggplant that was the size of a football tumbling over and over in the air until it fell. There are enough street lamps on Fifth Avenue where the Moskowitzes live for us to see it as it plummeted downward, even though it was night. Sorry, you have to have a pink cup today.
It's beautiful. I love it.
I'm sorry, that's all we had left.
I don't have bugs like this. It's amazing.
You get to be pink and kitty cats today. Is it delicious? Is it more delicious because it's in a pink cup?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, also, I don't have any mugs that are like just like all this big shape.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It is a nice cup, right?
I used to have one before I met you, but it broke.
I'm sorry to hear that. Well, you can borrow mine.
No, I don't have any. And all yours are pink.
Maybe Secret Baby will buy you a cup that says, I am, you are my father, or something like that. I don't know.
I am, you are my father.
I was trying to think of something. I couldn't think of anything clever.
Now it has to say that.
I'm going to get it printed to say exactly that. No, sorry, you are my father.
Got it. Thanks, child.
She nailed it. Good job, Secret Baby.
Thank you, my child.
Thank you, my one and only child, my progeny. Where the Moskowitzes live, for us to see it as it plummeted downward, even though Liz said onesie incoming immediately. Yes, I am, you are my father. Down, down, down the eggplant went, past the windows of all the psychoanalysts and investment bankers, the only people who can afford apartments in Lily's building, until suddenly, splat, the eggplant hit the sidewalk. Only it didn't just hit the sidewalk, it exploded on the sidewalk everywhere, sending bits of eggplant flying, mostly all over an M1 city bus that was driving by at the time, but quite a lot over the Jaguar that had been idling nearby. And while I was leaning out the window, admiring the splat patterns of the eggplant's pulp all over the street and sidewalk, the driver of the Jaguar opened up and a man got out from behind the wheel just as the doorman to Lily's building stepped out from beneath the awning over the front door and looked up. Suddenly, someone threw an arm around my waist and yanked me backward right off my feet. Yes, the matching shirt that says, I know. Get down, Michael hissed, pulling me downward toward the parquet. We all ducked. Well, Lily, Michael, Shamika, Ling Sue, and Tina ducked. I was already on the floor. Where had Michael even come from? I didn't even know he was home, and I had asked, believe me, on account of the whole running down the hallway naked thing, just in case and all. But Lily had said that he was on a lecture on quasars over at Columbia and wouldn't be home for hours. Are you guys stupid or what? Michael wanted to know. Don't you know, besides the fact that it's a good way to kill someone, it's also against the law to drop things out the window in New York City? Oh, Michael, Lily said disgustedly. Grow up. It's just a common garden vegetable. I'm serious. Michael looked mad. If anyone saw Mia do this just now, she could get arrested. No, she couldn't, Lily said. She's a minor. She could still go to juvenile court. You better not be planning on airing that footage on your show, Michael said. Oh my God. Michael was defending my honor, or at least trying to make sure that I didn't end up in juvenile court. It was so sweet. Well, it was really, honestly, very Josie Rocks of him. And Lily went, I most certainly am planning to air it. Well, you better edit all the parts with Mia's face in them. Lily stuck out her chin. No way. Lily, everybody knows who Mia is. If you air that segment, it'll be all over the news that the Princess of Genovia was caught on tape dropping projectiles out the window of her friend's high-rise apartment. Will you get a clue? Michael let go of my waist, I noticed, with regret. Lily, Michael's right, Tina Hakim Baba said. We better edit that part out. Mia doesn't need any more publicity than she already has. And Tina didn't even know about the 24/7 thing yet. So Lily got up and stomped backward toward the window, and she started leaning out, checking, I guess, to see whether or not the doorman and the owner of the Jaguar were still there, but Michael jerked her back. Rule number 1, he said, if you insist on dropping something out the window, never, ever check to see if anybody is standing down there looking up. They will see you and figure out what apartment you're in, and then you will be blamed for dropping whatever it was, because no matter who the guilty part was, the one looking out the window is guilty under those circumstances. Wow, Michael, Shamika said admiringly. You sound like you've done this before. Not only that, he sounded like Dirty Harry, which was how I felt when I dropped that eggplant out the window, like Dirty Harry. And it felt good, but not quite as good as Michael having rushed to my defense like that. Michael said, let's just say I used to have a very keen interest in experimenting with the Earth's gravitational pull. Wow, there is so much I don't know about Lily's brother. Like, he used to be a juvenile delinquent. Could a computer genius / juvenile delinquent ever be interested in a flat-chested princess like myself? He did save my life tonight. Well, okay, he saved me from possible community service. It's not like a French kiss or like a slow dance or even an admission that he's the author of the anonymous letters, but it's a start. I don't know what you're thinking. Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Frankly, in all the confusion, I kind of lost track of myself. But you gotta ask yourself one question. Beat. Do I feel lucky? Long pause. Well, long pause. Do you, punk? I don't know what that was. An interlude? A song Mia wrote? Who's to say? Things to do. Number 1. English journal. Number 2, stop thinking about that stupid letter. Number 3, ditto Michael Moskovitz. Number 4, ditto the interview. Number 5, ditto mom. Number 6, change the cat litter. Number 7, drop off the laundry. Number 8, get super to put lock on bathroom door. Number 9, buy following items: dishwashing liquid, Q-tips, canvas stretchers for mom, the stuff that you put on your fingernails that makes them taste bad so you don't bite them, something nice for Mr. Gianni to say welcome to the family, something nice for Dad to say don't worry, someday true love will find you too. Oh, it's a quote from a movie? Okay, I didn't know that. It shows what I know, right? That's pretty funny. Her poor dad, she's like, someday you'll be okay, Daddy-o. I don't know if it's true. Will he be okay? We'll find out. All right. Sunday, October 26th, 7 p.m. I was really afraid that when I got home, my mom was going to be disappointed in me. Like, not yell at me. My mom's not really the yelling kind of person, but she does get this, like, disappointed in me look. Like, when I do something really stupid, like not call and tell her where I am if I'm out late, which given my social life or lack thereof hardly ever happens. But I really did screw up this time, like big time. It was really, really hard for me to leave the Moskowitz's apartment this morning and come home knowing the potential for disappointment that awaited me there. Of course, it's always hard to leave Lily's. Like, every time I go there, it's like taking a vacation from my real life. Lily has such a nice, normal family. Well, like as normal as 2 psychoanalysts whose son has his own webzine and daughter has her own cable access television show can be. At the Moskowitz's, the biggest problem is always whose turn it is to walk Pavlov, their Sheltie, or whether or not they're going to get Chinese takeout or Thai. At my house, the problems always seem to be a little bit more complicated. But of course, when I finally did work up the courage to come home, my mom was totally happy to see me. She gave me a big hug and told me not to worry about what happened at the interview taping. She said that she and Dad had talked it out and that she completely understood. And she even tried to get me to believe that it was her fault for not having said anything to him right away, which I know isn't true. It still is my fault, me and my big idiot mouth, but it was nice to hear just the same. So Then we had a nice fun time sitting around planning her and Mr. G's wedding. My mom decided Halloween would be an excellent day to get married because the idea of marriage is so scary. And since it was going to be at City Hall, that meant that I'd probably have to skip school, but hey, that was okay by me. Since it would be Halloween, my mom decided that instead of a wedding dress, she would go to the courthouse dressed as King Kong. And she wanted me to dress up as the Empire State Building. God knows I am tall enough for that. She was trying to convince Mr. G to dress as Fay Ray when the phone rang, and she said it was Lily for me. I was surprised since I just left Lily's, but I figured I must have left my toothbrush there or something like that. But that wasn't why she was calling. That wasn't why she was calling at all, as I found out when she demanded tartly, "What's this I hear about you being interviewed on 24/7 this week?" I was stunned. I actually thought maybe Lily had ESP or something and had been hiding it from me all these years, and I said, "How did you know?" "Because there are commercials announcing it every 5 minutes, you Dorcas." I switched on the TV and Lily was right. No matter what station you put it on, there were ads urging viewers to tune in tomorrow night to see Beverly Bellevier's exclusive interview with America's Royal Princess Mia. God, my life is so over. "So why didn't you tell me you're going to be on TV?" Lily wanted to know. I don't know, I said, feeling like I was going to throw up all over again. "Are you okay, babe?" I don't think he can hear me. "Are you alive?"
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Are you sure you're alive?
I'm alive. Sorry.
Do you need water?
I'm sorry.
No, I'm not asking you to be sorry. I'm asking if you're okay.
I'm alive.
Barely. I don't know, I said, feeling like I was going to throw up all over again. It just happened yesterday. It's honestly no big deal. And Lily started yelling louder, so I had to hold the phone away from my ear. "No big deal. You were interviewed by Beverly Bellevere, and it was no big deal. Don't you realize Beverly Bellevere is one of America's most popular and hottest hitting journalists, and she is my all-time role model and hero?" And when she finally calmed down enough to let me talk, I tried to explain to Lily that I had no idea about Beverly's journalistic merits, much less that she was Lily's all-time role model and hero. She just seemed, I said, like a very nice lady. But by that time, Lily was totally fed up with me, and she said, "The only reason I'm not mad at you is that tomorrow you're going to tell me every single detail about it." I am? And then I asked a more important question. "Why should you be mad at me?" I really wanted to know. "Because you gave me exclusive rights to interview you first," Lily pointed out. For Lily tells it like it is. I have no memory about this, but I guess it could be true. Grammere, I could see from the ads, had been right about the blue eyeshadow, which was surprising because she's never really right about much. Top 5 things that Grammere has been wrong about. Number 1, that my dad would settle down when he met the right woman. Number 2, that Fat Louie would suck the breath out of me and suffocate me as I sleep. Number 3, that if I didn't attend an all-girls school, I would contract a social disease. Number 4, that if I got my ears pierced, they would get infected and I would die of blood poisoning. Number 5, that my figure would fill out by the time I hit my teens. Yeah, right. Sunday, October 26th, 8 p.m. You will not believe what got delivered to our house while I was gone. I was sure it was a mistake until I saw the following attached. "I'm gonna kill my mother." Jefferson Market, the fresh produce guaranteed fast free delivery. Order number 2803. Number 1, package of microwave cheese popcorn. Number 2, a case of Yoo-Hoo chocolate drink. Number 3, a jar of cocktail olives. Number 4, a bag of Oreos. 1 container of fudge rippled ice cream, a package of all beef hot dogs, package of hot dog buns, a package of string cheese, a package of milk chocolate chips, a package of barbecue potato chips, a container of beer nuts, 1 bag of Milano cookies, a jar of sweet gherkins, toilet paper, a 6-pound ham. Delivered to Helen Thermopolis. Hasn't she the slightest idea how adversely all this saturated fat and sodium will affect her unborn child? I can see that Mr. Gianni and I will have to be hypervigilant over the next 7 months. I have given everything except the toilet paper to Ronnie next door, and Ronnie says he's going to hand it out to all the junkiest stuff to any trick-or-treaters who might come by. She has to watch her figures since her sex change operation, and now that she's taking all of those estrogen injections, everything goes right to her hips, she says. It is the most chaotic list, Jeff. But Helen Thermopolis is pregnant, you guys. It is what it is. It is what it is. Sunday, October 26th, 9 p.m. Another email from Josie Rocks. This one went, Josie Rocks. Hi, Mia. I just saw the ad for your interview and you look great. Sorry I can't tell you who I am. I'm surprised you haven't guessed by now. Stop checking your email and get to work on your algebra homework. I know how you are about that. It's one of the things I like best about you. Your friend. Okay. This is going to drive me insane. Who could it be? Who? I wrote back right away. Who are you? Who are you? Many, many question marks. I was hoping that it would get the point across, but he so totally did not write back. And I was trying to figure out who I know that would always wait until the last, that would know that I always wait till the last minute to do my algebra homework. And unfortunately, I think everyone knows that I wait till the last minute to do my algebra homework. But the person who knows it best of all is Michael. I mean, doesn't he help me every day with my algebra homework and Gifted and Talented? And he's always chastising me for not putting my carryovers in a straight enough line and all of that. So if only Josie Rocks were Michael Moskovitz. If only. But I'm sure it isn't. That would simply be too good to be true. And really excellent things like that never happen to girls like me. They only happen to girls like Lana Weinberger. Never girls like me. Knowing my luck, it would totally be that weird chili guy or someone who breathes through his mouth like Boris. Why me? Monday, October 27th, Gifted and Talented. Unfortunately, it appears that Lily is not the only one who noticed the ads for tonight's broadcast. Everybody is talking about it. I mean everybody. And everybody says that they're going to watch it, which means by tomorrow, everyone will know about my mom and Mr. Gianni. Not that I care. I mean, there's nothing to be ashamed of and all. Nothing at all. Pregnancy is beautiful and it's totally natural. Still, I wish I could remember more about what Beverly and I talked about because I am sure that my mom's impending marriage is not all that we discussed. And I'm totally worried about what other stuff I said that will come across sounding stupid. I've decided that I should look more closely into the idea of homeschooling, just in case. Tina Hakim Baba told me that her mother, who was a supermodel in England before she married Mr. Hakim Baba, used to get interviewed all the time. Mrs. Hakim Baba says that the courtesy of interviewers is that they would send a copy of the tape before it aired so that if she had any objections, she could straighten them out before it was broadcast. That sounds like a good idea. So at lunch, I called my dad in his hotel suite and asked him if he could get Beverly to do that for me. He said, "Hold on," and he asked her. It turned out Beverly was right there in my dad's hotel room on a Monday afternoon. Then, to my utter mortification, Beverly actually got on the phone and said, "What's the matter, Mia?" And I told her I was still pretty nervous about seeing the interview and was there any chance that I could get a copy of it before it aired? And Beverly said a bunch of stuff about how adorable I was and how that wouldn't be necessary. And now that I think about it, I can't exactly remember what she said, but I got an overwhelming feeling that everything would be just fine. Beverly's just one of those people who makes you feel good about yourself. I honestly don't know how she does it. No wonder my dad hasn't let her out of his hotel room since Saturday. 2 cars, one going north at 40 miles per hour and one going south at 50 miles per hour, leave town at the same time. In how many hours will they be 360 miles apart? Why does it matter? I mean, really? I have to tell you, I've always wondered that about those word problems. Like, who cares? Monday, October 27th, biology. Mrs. Singh, our biology teacher, says it's physiologically impossible to die of either boredom or embarrassment, but I know that isn't true because I'm experiencing heart failure right now. That is because after GNT, Michael and Lily and I were walking down the hall together since Lily was going to psych and I was going to bio and Michael was going to calc and they're all right across the hall from one another. And Lana Weinberger walked right up to us, right up to Michael and me, held up 2 fingers, waggled them at us, and said, "Are you 2 going out?" I could seriously die right now. I mean, you should have seen Michael's face. It was like his head was about to explode. He turned that red, and I'm sure I wasn't all that pale myself. Lily didn't help by letting out a giant horse of a laugh and going, "As if," which caused Lana and her cronies to burst out laughing too. I don't see what was so funny about it. Those girls obviously haven't seen Michael Moskovitz with his shirt off. Believe me, I have. I guess it's because the whole thing was so ridiculous and everything, but Michael just kind of ignored it. But I am telling you, it is getting harder and harder for me not to ask him if he is Josie Rocks. I kept trying to find out ways to work Josie and the Pussycats into the conversation. I know I shouldn't, but honestly, I just can't help it. I don't know how much longer I can stand being the only girl in the 9th grade who doesn't have a boyfriend. Word problem should be fun. You're erasing your best friend, blah, blah. Yeah, seriously. Homework. Algebra. Problems on page 135. English. Make the most of yourself for what it is and all there is of you. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Write feelings about this quote in your journal. World Civ. Questions at the end of chapter 9. Gifted and talented? Nothing. French. Plan an itinerary for a make-believe trip to Paris. Biology. Kenny's doing it, don't worry about it. Remind mom to make appointment with the licensed geneticist. Could she or Mr. G be carrier for many genetic mutations or T-sacs? It is common in the Jews of Eastern Europe originally and in French Canadians. Are there any French Canadians in our family? Find that out. Monday, October 27th, after school. I never thought I would say this, but I'm worried about Grandmere. I'm serious. I think she's officially lost it. I walked into her hotel suite for my princess lessons today since I'm scheduled to have my official introduction to the Genovian people sometime in December, and Grandmere wants to be sure that I don't insult any dignitaries or whatever during it. And guess what Grandmere was doing? Consulting with the Royal Genovian event planner about my mother's wedding. I'm totally serious. Grandmere had this guy flown in all the way from Genovia. They sat there at the dining table with this huge sheet of paper stretched out in front of them, all on which were drawn these circles to which Grandmere was attaching these tiny slips of paper. And she looked up when I came in and said in French, "Oh, Amelia, very nice of you to come and sit down. Please, please. We have much to discuss, you and Vigo and I." I think my eyes must have been bulging out of my head. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was totally hoping what I was seeing was, not what I was seeing. "Grandmere," I said, "what are you doing?" "Is it obvious?" Grandmere looked at me with her drawn-on eyebrows raised higher than ever. "Planning a wedding, of course." I swallowed. This was bad. Way bad. I said, "Whose wedding, Grandmere?" She looked at me very sarcastically. "Guess," she said. I swallowed some more. "Grandmere," I said, "can I talk to you for just a moment in private?" But Grandmere just waved her hand and said, "Anything you have to say to me, you can say in front of Vigo. He's been dying to meet you. Vigo, Her Royal Highness, the Princess Emilia Mionne Grimaldi Ronaldo." She left out the Thermopolis, which she always does. And Vigo jumped up from the table and came rushing over to me. He was shorter than me, about my mom's age, and had on a gray suit. He seemed to share my grandmother's penchant for purple since he was wearing a lavender shirt and some kind of very shiny material along with an equally shiny dark purple tie. "Your Highness," he gushed, "the pleasure is all mine. So delightful to finally meet you." To Grandmere, he said, "You are right, madame. She has the Ronaldo nose." "I told you, did I not?" Grandmere sounded smug. "Uncanny." "Positively." Vigo made a little picture frame out of his index fingers and thumbs and squinted at me through it. "Pink," he said decidedly. "Absolutely pink. I do so love pink in a maid of honor. But the other attendants will be in ivory. I think so, Diana." But then Diana was always so right. "It's really nice to meet you," I said to Vigo. "But the thing is, I think my mom and Mr. Gianni were kind of planning on having like a private ceremony down at City Hall." Grandmere rolled her eyes. It's very scary when she does this because a long time ago she had her black eyeliner tattooed all around her eyelids so that she wouldn't have to waste valuable time putting on makeup when she could be, like terrorizing someone or something. "Yes, I heard all about it. It's ridiculous, of course. They will be married in the white and gold room at the plaza, with the reception directly afterwards in the grand ballroom, as befits the mother of the future regent of Genovia." I said, I really don't think that's what they want. Grandmere looked incredulous. "Well, why ever not? Your father's paying for it, of course, and I've been very generous. They're each allowed to invite 25 guests. I looked down at the sheet of paper in front of her. There were way more than 50 slips of paper in front of her. Grandmere must have noticed the direction of my gaze, and she went, "Well, of course, I do require at least 300. I stared at her. 300 what? "Well, guests, of course." I could see that I was way out of my depth here. I was going to have to call in reinforcements if I hoped to get anywhere with her. "Maybe," I said. "Maybe I should just give Dad a call and run this all by him." "Good luck," Grandmere said with a snort. "He went off with that Bellivier woman, and I haven't heard from him since. If he's not careful, he's going to end up in the same situation as your algebra teacher over there." Except it's totally unlikely that Dad would be getting anyone pregnant, since the whole reason I was his heir instead of some legitimately produced offspring is that he's no longer fertile due to the massive doses of chemotherapy that cured his testicular cancer. But I suppose Grandmere is still in denial about all this, considering what a disappointment of an heir I've turned out to be. Yeah, right, Naisa? It was at this point that a strange moaning noise came out from under Gramir's chair. We both looked down. Rommel, Gramir's miniature poodle, was cowering in fright at the sight of me. I know I'm hideous and all, but it's really ridiculous how scared that dog is of me. I love animals, but even St. Francis of Assisi would have a hard time appreciating Rommel. I mean, first of all, he recently developed a nervous disorder. If you ask me, I think it's from living in proximity to my grandmother. And that made all of his fur fall out, so Grandma dresses him up in little sweaters and coats so that he doesn't catch a cold. Today, Rommel had on a mink bolero jacket. I'm not even joking. It was dyed lavender to match the one slung across Gramir's shoulders. It's horrifying enough to see a person wearing fur, but it's 1,000 times worse to see an animal wearing another animal's fur. Rommel! Gramir yelled at the dog. Stop growling! Except that Rommel wasn't growling. He was moaning with fright at the sight of me. How many times in one day must I be humiliated? Oh, you stupid dog! Gramir reached down and picked up Rommel, much to his unhappiness. You could tell her diamond brooches were poking him in the spine. There's no fat on him at all, and he doesn't have any fur, so he's especially sensitive to pokey objects. But even though he wriggled to be free, she wouldn't let go of him. Now, Amelia, Gramir said, I need your mother and whatever his name is to write down their guests' names and addresses tonight so that I may have the invitations messengered tomorrow. I know your mother is going to want to invite some of those more free-spirited friends of hers, Mia, but I do think it would be better if perhaps they just stood outside while the reporters and tourists waved as she climbed in and out of the limo. That way, they'll still have the feeling of belonging, but they won't make anyone uncomfortable with their unattractive hairstyles and ill-fitting attire. Gramir, I said, I really think... And what do you think about this dress? Gramir held up a picture of a Vera Wang wedding gown with a big poofy skirt that my mom would not be caught dead in. Vigo said, No, your highness, I really think this one is more the thing. And then he held up a photo of a slinky Armani number that my mom similarly would not be caught dead in. Grandmere, I said, this is all really so nice of you, but my mom definitely doesn't want a big wedding, like really, definitely. Gramir said, poof is French for no duh. She will when she sees the luscious hors d'oeuvres that will be served at her reception. Tell her about them, Vigo. Vigo said with relish, truffle-filled mushroom caps, asparagus tips wrapped in salmon slivers, pea pods stuffed with goat cheese, endive with crumbles of blue cheese inside each gently furrowed leaf. I said, Gramir? No, she like really won't. Can you please believe me? And Gramir went, Nonsense! Trust me, Mia. Your mother is going to appreciate someday. Vigo and I will make her wedding day the event that she will never forget. Well, I had no doubt about that. And I said, Gramir, Mom and Mr. G were really hoping to plan something very casual and very simple. But then Gramir threw me one of those looks of hers, the really very scary ones. And she said in a deadly serious voice, For 3 years, while your grandfather was off having the time of his life fighting the Germans, I held those Nazis, not to mention Mussolini, at bay. They lobbed mortars at the palace doors. They tried to drive tanks across my moat. And yet, I persevered through sheer willpower alone. And you are telling me, Amelia, that I cannot convince one pregnant woman to see things my way? I'm not saying my mom has anything in common with Mussolini or the Nazis, but as far as putting up a resistance to Grandmere, yeah, I'd place the money on my mom over a fascist foreign dictator any day. I could see that reasoning wasn't going to be an effective strategy in this particular case, so I went along with it, listening to Vigo gush over the menu that he had picked out, the music he'd selected for the ceremony and later for the reception, and admiring the portfolio of the photographer that he had chosen. I know, she's hilarious, Jess. It wasn't until they actually showed me one of the invitations that I realized something. Oh, I'm sorry, the wedding is this Friday? I squeaked. Yes, Grandmere said. That's Halloween, the same day as my mom's courthouse wedding, also incidentally the same night as Shamika's party. Grandmere looked bored. And what of it? Well, it's just, you know, it's Halloween. Vigo looked at grandmother. What is this Halloween? He asked, and then I remembered that they don't do much for Halloween in Genovia. Oh, it's a pagan holiday, Grandmere replied with a shudder. Children dress up in costumes and demand candy from strangers. Horrible American tradition. It's also in a week, I pointed out. Grandmere raised her drawn-on eyebrows. And so? Well, that's just so, I mean, like, it's so soon. People like me, I thought, might have other plans. Not to be indelicate, your highness, said Vigo. We don't want the ceremony to be after when your mother, begins to show. Great. So even the Royal Genovian event organizer knows my mother's expecting. Why doesn't Grandmere just rent out the Goodyear blimp and broadcast it all over the tri-state area? And then Grandmere started trying to tell me that since we're on the topic of weddings at all, it might be a good opportunity for me to start learning what would be expected out of any future consorts I might have. Wait a minute. Future what? I asked. Consorts, Vigo said excitedly. The spouse of the reigning monarch, Prince Philip, is Queen Elizabeth's consort. Whoever you choose to marry, your highness, will be your consort. I blinked at him. I'm sorry, I thought you were the royal event organizer. Vigo not only serves as our event organizer, but also the royal protocol expert, Grandmere explained. Protocol? I thought that was something to do with, like, army. Grandmere rolled her eyes. Protocol is the form of a ceremony and etiquette observed by foreign dignitaries at state functions. In your case, Vigo can explain the expectations of your future consort, just so there won't be any unpleasant surprises later. And then Grandmere made me get out a piece of paper and write down exactly what Vigo said. So, she informed me, in 4 years, when I'm in college and I take it into my head to enter into a romantic liaison with some completely inappropriate, I will know why she's so mad at me. College? Grandmere obviously doesn't know that I'm actively being pursued by consorts at this moment. Of course, I don't even know who Josie Rocks is or his real name, but hey, it's something at least. And then I found out what exactly consorts have to do. And now I sort of doubt that I'll ever be French kissing anyone anytime soon. In fact, I can totally see why my mother did not want to marry my dad. That is, if he ever even asked her. I've glued the piece of paper here. Expectations for any royal consort to the Princess of Genovia. The consort will ask the princess's permission before he leaves the room. The consort will wait for the princess to finish speaking before speaking himself. The consort will wait for the princess to lift her fork before lifting his own at mealtime. The consort will not sit until the princess has been seated. The consort will rise the moment the princess rises. The consort will not engage in any sort of risk-taking behavior, such as racing either in car or boat, mountain climbing, skydiving, etc., until such time as an heir has already been provided. The consort will give up his right, in the event of annulment or divorce, to custody of any children born during said marriage. The consort will give up the citizenship of his native country in favor of citizenship of Genovia. Okay, seriously? What kind of a dweeb am I going to end up with all these rules? Actually, I'll be lucky if I can get anybody to marry me at all. What schmuck would want to marry a girl he can't even interrupt, or he can't walk out on during an argument, or he has to give up citizenship to his own country for? I shudder to think of the total loser I'll be forced to marry one day. I'm already in mourning for the cool race car driving, mountain climbing, skydiving guy I could have had if it weren't for this whole crummy princess thing. Top 5 worst things about being a princess. Number 1. Can't marry Michael Moscovitz. He would never renounce his American citizenship in favor of Genovian. Number 2, can't go anywhere without a bodyguard. I like Lars, but come on, even the Pope gets to pray by himself sometimes. Number 3, must maintain neutral opinion on important topics such as the meat industry and smoking. Number 4, princess lessons with Grandmere. Number 5, still forced to learn algebra, even though there's totally no reason why I'll ever have to use it in my future career as the ruler of a small European principality. Poor Mia. She's going through a lot. But who among us isn't, am I right? For example, my child currently has the hiccups, and therefore my stomach has the hiccups. Not me, just my stomach. Let's see, what percentage are we at? Whoop, whoop. Okay. We are at 45% today. 45%. on the nose. Don't forget, tonight is Roll for Slime After Dark. We will be going through a whole bunch of those, which is exciting, and those will all ship out tomorrow. So I will see you on the Use of Tubes at 5 p.m. Pacific time tonight. And that is the whole kit and caboodle. Very exciting, Naisa. And I will see you all later. Have a great rest of your day, guys.